Welcome to the online teaching session of Arihant English Medium School Solapur for the academic year 2020-21. Yes, my dear students, today we are going to learn history. Before the start, I will tell you that all of us we know in India we have various rulers, various dynasties. You can say from ancient period of time we can see various dynasties rulers have ruled over India, but who were the last to rule over us? They were the Britishers. And we know Britishers had ruled over India for more than 150 years. So after that 150 years, what are the consequences, what are the effects that are very important? So today we will be learning the chapter number 3, effects of British rule in India. In this chapter we are going to study the effects of British rule all over India. Establishment of East India Company. We have seen that due to the geographical discoveries, the European powers reached the Indian coast. All the European, including Portuguese, Dutch, French, and British, entered the race for capturing the Indian market. Means, students, there was a kind of competition among them that who will occupy the Indian market. So they were competing with each other. When the British came to India for trade purpose, the Portuguese had already settled here and they gave a bitter resistance, a very harsh resistance, that is competition to them. But later on, they became friendly, means friendly relations developed between them. But to establish the domination over India, the British had to face opposition from French, Dutch, and local rulers. So late, but finally British got success. At the start, they faced lot of opposition from these early settled countries, but later on, it got the right and it became success in establishing their rule. Next, British and Marathas. Mumbai was the main center of British in western India. They were trying to acquire the nearby territories, but the Marathas had strong hold over it. Yes, my dear students, as we know, Mumbai was the main center at that time too. So what Britishers thought that we will acquire Mumbai, and with the help of which we can occupy the nearby territories also. But occupying Mumbai was not easy because Marathas were having a strong hold over it. After the death of Peshwa Madhav Rao, his uncle Raghunath Rao approached for help from the British due to his greed for Peshwaship. This led to the entrance of British in Maratha politics. Till that time, Britishers were not entered in Maratha politics. But when Peshwa Madhav uncle Raghunath Rao, when he approached for help, from that point of onwards, they entered in the politics of Marathas. During 1774 to 1818, three wars were fought between the Marathas and the British. During the first war, the Marathas unitedly faced the British and hence proved superior. In 1782, with the Treaty of Salbai, the first Anglo Maratha War came to an end. Yes, students, three wars took place between them. In first war, Marathas were superior because they were united, and the war ended with a treaty which was known as Salbai. Now, subsidiary alliance. In 1798, Lord Wellesley arrived in India as Governor General. His objective was to establish the British dominion all over India. For this, he signed the subsidiary alliance with many Indian rulers. Yes, his intention was that British rule should be there all over India. With this intention, what he did, he started signing treaties with different rulers of India. According to this alliance, the Indian rulers were assured of British military help. They used to show that you might face foreign aggression or any other thing. That's why we will support you. We will assist you military help. In this way, they used to sign treaty with the Indian rulers. There were some terms laid on them. The Indian rulers have to maintain British army in their court and have to pay cash or part of their territory to the company for its maintenance. The ruler would not have any alliance with any other power or declare war against any power without the intervention of the British. Yes, once they sign treaty with the Britishers, they cannot make any other treaty with other nations. If they want to declare any war with other foreign nation or country or any external aggression, then first they have to take the permission of Britishers. The ruler would accept a British resident in his state. Some Indian rulers accepted the system and lost their freedom. Initial, our Indian rulers were not knowing that signing this treaty, actually we are giving our freedom to them. But later on they understood by signing this treaty they have lost their freedom. In 1802, Bajirao II signed the Subsidiary Alliance Treaty with the British. This alliance is well known as the Treaty of Vasai, but this treaty was not acceptable to some Maratha Sardars. This led to the Second Anglo Maratha War. After the victory of the British, there was increased interference of British into the Maratha state. Yes, students, when Bajirao II signed this treaty, so when they started interfering in the Maratha state more, so war took place. Second war between Maratha and British. But in this war, Britishers were superior. So their intervention in the state of Maratha increased more now. This became intolerable and Bajirao II waged a war against the British. He was defeated in this battle and in 1818 he surrendered to the British. In the meantime, the capital of Mughals was under the control of Daulat Rao Shinde. By defeating the troop of Shinde, General Lake captured the Mughal emperor and gained victory over Hindustan. So in this way, students, they had made the plan that first we will enter in Maratha politics, then very soon we can occupy the whole India. So they were becoming successful in their plan as they have defeated, you can say, many Maratha rulers. Then they have also gained the Mughal emperor also. In this way now their capture was becoming firm in many parts of India. Chhatrapati Pratap Singh. Although the Peshwaship came to an end, Chhatrapati Pratap Singh of Satara was still ruling there. Britishers signed a treaty with Chhatrapati Pratap Singh and appointed Grand Duff as an officer to assist him in the state affair. Peshwaship came to an end, but still he was ruling in the state of Satara. Now Britishers thought how to remove him from the Peshwaship. So how they lured him? They told that we will appoint one officer to assist you, to help you. And they appointed one officer. But later the Chhatrapati was dethroned and exiled to Kashi and he died there in 1847. Dethroned, removed from power, exiled means he was forcefully sent to Kashi. In this way, his power in Satara came to an end. Rango Bapuji Gupte, a loyal officer of Chhatrapati, fought the legal battle and went up to England, but his efforts were unsuccessful. Later, Lord Dalhousie rejected the adoption policy and in 1848 annexed the state of Satara. So, initially, beforehand only they had made this plan, Britishers. Hence, they lured Chhatrapati Pratap Singh and they got success in removing him and imposing their rule over Satara. Do you know Chhatrapati Pratap Singh made provision of water to the city by building a water tank on the back side of Yevteshwar temple and Mahadara in Satara. Roads were built in the city. Trees were planted on both the sides of the road. Schools were built for boys and girls for teaching Sanskrit, Marathi and English. Printing press was set up and many useful books were published. In 1827, Sabhaniti, a book on polity, was printed. He built road from Satara to Mahabaleshwar to Pratapgarh. The same road further extended to Mahad. Chhatrapati Pratap Singh used to write personal diary. Effects of British rule on India. In that we are going to see dual government. Robert Clive in 1765 introduced the dual government. Dual means two government system in Bengal. The company undertook the work of revenue collection, whereas the Nawab of Bengal had to maintain law and order. This was known as dual government system. Yes, my dear students, what Robert Clive introduced? Dual government. What was the function? What was the main thing of dual government? That the revenue collection will be done by East India Company, revenue taxes. And what the Nawab will do? They will only maintain law and order. This type of government was known as dual government. The ill effects of dual government system could be seen after certain time period. Money in the form of taxes went into the pockets of the company officers. All revenue they were collecting, and the Nawab didn't receive any revenue collection. In this way, what happened? The monopoly of trade in India was given to East India Company, and hence many trading companies in England envied them, desired to get for oneself. The working system of company in India received criticism in England, and British Parliament introduced some important laws to keep control over the company. After their step that they are collecting all the revenue for themselves, lot of criticism took place of Britishers, and in their England Parliament also they made a change that we have to keep a check on them, otherwise they will collect all the taxes for themselves. In this way, this was the change. Parliamentary laws. According to the Regulating Act of 1773, the Bengal governor came to be known as Governor General. One act was made in 1773, due to which whoever will be the Bengal governor, he would be known as Governor General. According to this act, Lord Warren Hastings became the Governor General of India. He got the right to control the policies of Mumbai and Madras provinces. A committee of 4 members was set up to assist him. In 1784, Pitt's India Act was passed. The act provided for appointment of a permanent board of control for better regulation and management of affairs of the East India Company in India. In 1813, 1833 and 1853, new laws were passed by the Parliament to make certain changes in the working of the company. In this way, there evolved an indirect control of British government on the administration of East India Company. Yes, students, though East India Company was belonging to the Britishers, to the England, but once they came here, they started doing the things on their own, and this was not liked by the British government. So how to manage them, how to control them, this was a great problem for Britishers. So one by one they brought about many changes, new laws, with the help of which they started now indirectly controlling the East India Company. With the emergence of British rule, a new administrative system got developed in India. Civil services, military, police force, and judicial system became the main pillars of British administration in India. Britishers, they wanted to rule over India, so they knew that without kind of proper civil services, that is judicial system, law system, police system, we cannot control India in the real manner. So we should bring about these changes. So first they introduced was civil services. To strengthen the British rule in India, there was a need of bureaucrats. Bureaucrats are an official in a government department. Lord Cornwallis introduced bureaucracy. Civil services became an important part of British government. He restricted the private trade carried out by the company officers, and for this purpose he increased their salary. Britishers, they came to know whatever work administration is going on in India. Unless and until we bring good officers, we cannot have a good control over them. That's why they introduce a civil service system, so that they can have a good administration and control over India. For the convenience of administration, he divided the British occupied territories into districts. Whatever Britishers have occupied the territories, they were now started dividing into districts because they were very big territories. administering them was a problem for the Britishers. They were big in area. Hence, for convenience, they divided it into districts. The district collector was the chief of district administration, means he will look after the all matter of districts. He was responsible for collection of revenue, giving justice, maintaining law and order. The officers were appointed through competitive examination known as Indian Civil Services, that is ICS. Yes, students. So, for the convenience of governing the districts properly, Britishers introduced civil services in which they made the district collector as the chief of the respective districts. He will maintain law and order. He will look after the whole business of district. And who can become this district collector? The one who passed the exam, Indian Civil Services. Yes, that was the condition at that time. Military and police force. The duty of military was to safeguard the British occupied regions in India, acquire new territories, and break down any revolt against the British in India. To maintain law and order in the country was the duty of police force. Yes, students, police force and military, they were there. Their duty was to acquire new territories. If any revolt was going on in the country, then they had to stop it forcefully. All these maintaining law and order they used to do. Judicial system. The British established a new judicial system in India on the basis of judicial system in England. Judiciary related to our court matters, means if anyone breaks the law, what punishment we have to give them, decide by our court. This whole system is known as judicial system. So what Britishers did, whatever their judicial system was there in England, they have implemented the same system in India. Every district had a civil and criminal court to solve the local cases. For reconsideration of their judgments, a high court was established. So the Britishers started making civil and criminal courts in every district of India, and for challenging any kind of cases, they made a high court also. I hope you might have understood till here, students. So you will once again go through the text, read the text silently. Remaining points we will see in next session. Thank you.